Welcome back, dear internets, welcome back. Un here once again with another episode of I Played a Thing, Alice in Wonderland. Things have been very rough in Uncountry lately, very rough indeed. So let's all escape to Wonderland for a little while, where even if you land on your head, the world doesn't hurt too much. Last time, we rescued a baby from the Duchess's house, or a pig as the case may be, and we got its nice shiny rattle for our troubles. So yay for that. We also picked up the March Hare's whisker, which functions as an unlimited use vine rope a la Below the Root, so that's pretty cool too. We'll want to go exploring the other areas down the stove in a little while, but there's something I'd like to pick up first. And that's off to the right here. Take a quick swim across the lily pond. And we find ourselves at a butter cross. This is one thing that I never looked up when I played this game as a kid. There were a lot of things that I learned about from the Alice books and from this game, so it was really kind of an educational experience, but I never thought to look up Butter Cross. So I did that after I did my test run for this game, and it turns out a butter cross is a place in English market towns where people would convene to buy and sell local butter, eggs, and milk. Things like that. Another little bit of old-timey trivia for us. And here's a town hall, which is pretty self-explanatory. If you don't have an appointment, you'll have to leave. Well, I'd like to see you make me. Matter of fact, if I use the wrong conversation options, I think I'll make him leave, so we will do our usual pre-conversation save state. There we go. And who are you, anyway? Senior Clerk. We'll have our titles on our forehead next month. And where am I? The Town Hall of Lesser 2. What are you up to over there? Why are you wasting my time with questions? Because I can! No time to talk, I'm going to the other tea party. It's all the way over in the rabbit hole. He'll be back at 10 o'clock. Not if I have anything to say about it. What if we're helpful? That's out of the question until you sit for the civil service exams next year. I'm a little young for that kind of work. This is neither the time nor the place for that. What if we tease him? How rude. Yeah, I suppose it was. All the people around here must be wearing off on me a bit. I don't have time for that. Here, take this memo on the need for appointments. I'm off to the museum. The ferrets put on such interesting displays. Take this memo on the need for appointments. How passive-aggressive can you be? But we've got one more conversation option, so I will reload once more and give him a scolding. Before you can insult a civil servant, you must fill out an abuse form in triplicate. Wow, I'd really like it if those were a real thing. We'll be argumentative again, and get our memo. The memo says, impatient people not only lose their tempers, but their heads as well. Make an appointment, and I mean it. The Queen of Hearts. I'm not really sure what value that ought to be, but we'll take it nonetheless. Righto, back to the Duchess's house, where we will go exploring in the stove once again, as any safety-minded young child should do. That chest over beyond the bee is just that prize-winning dried fungus, which we have no use for and, in fact, can't take with us at all. Okay, I don't want to go that way just yet, I think. We need to go through the house. Right up here, I think, is the March Hare's room. Indeed it is. Here on the left, was that the bathroom? Yes, it is. Don't want to go there quite yet either. Here, on the other hand, we have what appears to be a mirror with a shimmery doorway made out of it. Remember back in the first episode where we were warned to beware of a pair of false-looking glasses, and not false-looking glasses? Well, this is one of those. And, although we're supposed to be wary of it, I'm gonna plunge right in, because we're showing everything. This looks interesting. It is a marzipan dreadnought that seems to have melted and stuck. Well, that's an odd use of marzipan. Blenheim Palace. Is that a real place? I should look that up. And here we have a garden, and I've gone and run my face into things. Pay attention to where the walls are on. You'll get hurt less that way. Oh, if I jump there to get my run going, then I will pop up to the next floor, as you've seen. So we will just have to walk across slowly. Ooh, icy cake. There are more than enough size-changing objects in the game. You're really not in any danger of running out, especially because after you eat the mushrooms, they will respawn. But I like having lots and lots of them. It just gives me a certain peace of mind. Down there, the white rabbit is saying the queen wants to see me. But we won't worry about that quite yet. And what we've got here is a Borough. You may remember the beginning of the poem Jabberwocky if you've ever read through The Looking Glass. 'Twas a brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves and the mome raths outgrabe. A borogove, as Humpty Dumpty explained to Alice, is a sort of shabby-looking bird with all its feathers sticking out all around it, sort of like a live mop. This doesn't look terribly avian, although I suppose that little triangle on its face could be a beak. But in any case, what borogoves do in this Alice in Wonderland is the same as what bees do. They drop you down to a lower level. But that's okay, that just gets me to the elixir here a little bit faster. Now then, let's see if we can find a way to go down and have a chat with Mr. Rabbit. If I go down this way, I think maybe I can wrap around to the left? Or is that an obstacle on my way there? No, it's not. Brilliant. We'll do our usual pre-conversation save state. Who are you? Not that I don't know. The Queen wants to see you in the lower cricket ground. The Queen wants to see you in the lower cricket ground. What we have here is a very single-minded rabbit. I don't think we're going to get anything more out of him. Alright then, if the cricket ground is lower, then certainly we'll want to go down to reach it. Hey, this is a croquet ground. You're rather fat for a card, and you really ought to see a tailor. I can't tell what suit you are. Well, that was very impolite of you. Who are you to talk to me like that? 4! Whoops, wrong game. I've just been shuffled and don't know where anyone is. Fair enough. Why are you doing that? You're wild enough to be a joker. And I know how to party like one too. If I were you, I'd get a hedgehog and start being terrible. The Queen hates to lose. A little explanation of the hedgehog thing, if you're not familiar with the book. In Alice in Wonderland, the Red Queen, or not the Red Queens, the Queen of Hearts' croquet games, the card people themselves would function as the arches just by doubling themselves over. The mallets were flamingos, and the balls were live hedgehogs. But I'm not done talking to him. Okay, how wonderful. I missed the hedgehog again. Well, that's just great. I'm going to keep yammering at you. I don't have any teapots to offer the queen. Well, that's kind of a dead giveaway of something we're going to have to do in a little while. No, I don't want to pose for a monument of the unknown croquet player. That's good, because I'm not much of a sculptor. I don't think you're playing with a full deck. I'll be back at 12 o'clock. I see what you did there. But my save state will defeat you. I've got problems of my own. Don't we all, Mr. Card? Don't we all? Right, what have we got to the left? We've got jail. I don't want to go there. And if we head off to the right? That must be the Queen of Hearts herself. Off with the gardener's heads and be quick about it. In the notes for an adaptation of a... in the notes for a stage adaptation of the Alice books, Lewis Carroll described the Queen of Hearts as a fury, just a creature of unending rage and passion. That's a pretty good description of her. Let's go ahead and strike up a conversation with the fury. Who are you? That's treason! Off with her head! Where am I? That's rather obvious. And why are you doing that? Help! I'm surrounded by a rising sea of impertinence! Okay, that was pretty good, Queen. What if I'm coaxing? Do keep a stiff upper lip. It's so un-British to whine. I believe that's a repeated line that we've seen earlier. And if I'm helpful? Fine, shorten yourself by a head. Off with it! She has almost as much of a single-track mind as the White Rabbit upstairs. None of your cheek. Oh, that'll serve me for trying to be nice. And if we tease? Incompetence is no excuse. Even if you didn't bring a knife, you could have brought a spoon. I have no idea what she's talking about, so I'm going to argue the matter. Why not? You'd be cross too if you didn't have enough teapots for brewing. Well, that card back there did suggest that offering teapots to the Queen would be a good idea, and she has mentioned that she doesn't have enough teapots for brewing, but let's see what happens if we go ahead and not do that. We encounter the Executioner. If I get a little close to him, will he do his dialogue thing? There we go. Hold still, shoulders back, head straight, follow through with the swing. Who are you? Hold still, shoulders back, head straight, follow through with the swing. Once again, we seem to have a very single-minded character. Yep, no matter what we do, he's gonna say that. Now, if I try and walk past him, I'm going to be captured. However, if I try to jump over him here... I will still be captured. Any contact with the Executioner gets you thrown in jail. Fortunately, we did pick up some size items just recently. But I'm going to go with the mushrooms just because they will eventually respawn. And our tiny, tiny self can escape through this tiny, tiny hole in the jail. So it seems we are not going to be getting out of the croquet grounds until we can do something about that Executioner. I wonder... I know we can't normally talk to characters if we're too tiny. Your voice is too faint to be heard. But I wonder if you can offer things in this particular scale. Have a teapot. Thank you. Anything else? As luck would have it, yes. Whoops. There I go, scrolling past things again. Thank you. Anything else? And once more with feeling. Now I can make tea for the Mad Hatter. I'm off to the museum. Ta-ta! And when the Queen of Hearts disappears, so does the Executioner. Very handy, that. I'm not entirely sure what you can do if you come down here without having picked up the teapots. You could be SOL, unless you're able to renew to another location. I'm not sure where that would put you, though. Actually, I'm curious now. Let me save state, and then renew, and let me see where that puts me. Well, that puts me way back at the Red King. But it would get me out of there, so at least it is possible. Good to know. Whoops. I did not think that was a barricade. What's up, Big Two? Time out, my hedgehog has to sneeze. That is a very interesting line taken out of context. Fortunately, we do have context. But if I'm going to have a chat, I'm going to have to put a yellow shroom in me. Also a strange line out of context. Save state as usual. Who are you? Don't be ridiculous. There are enough people who already are. We've heard that one. Where am I? Okay, another repeated line. Are you just gonna have the same stuff to say as the other card? We play to lose, and it's very hard with the queen as bad a shot as she is. Yeah, I have to think that would lead to some more of that off with her head, off with his head kind of thing. In the book, the Queen of Hearts would always be calling for people to be beheaded, but the King of Hearts would usually kind of sneak around after she left, giving everyone pardons. The King of Hearts does not appear in this game, however. You wouldn't say that if you knew the situation. He's rather shy about introductions. The situation? That's, kind of an old reference. Jersey Shore hasn't been on in a while. This bird and I go a long ways back. It's been 5 minutes already. I assume he's talking about his flamingo. This is a rotten mallet. It's losing all its feathers. Now he's definitely talking about his flamingo. This is neither the time nor the place for that. But it's always time for an argument. You're blocking my hedgehog. I'll be back at 1 o'clock. Instead of doing that, I'd look for the true looking glass, especially if it's near 12. Yeah, I think someone else mentioned that the true looking glass only works if it's 12 o'clock, and we are not there. We are again through one of the false looking glasses. You shouldn't bite those nails, you know. They might bite back someday. Well, I am pretty familiar with you, but I will ask nonetheless. Who are you? This is no laughing matter. Alright, where am I? Who cares? Little girls stay in Wonderland. Queens may go where they want, even up to the surface. Yeah, we have been hearing something to the extent of we have to become a queen in order to return home. Something to keep in mind. And why you do that thing you do. My, you're a chatty little thing. You must be part parrot. I am, and I'm very sensitive about my heritage, thank you. Why leave? It's no different than out there, you know. And if we're helpful? Yeah, don't pet me! Here's a clue if you'll just stay away. The looking glass only works at 12. Well, we've just been hip to that, but it's good to have confirmation. Alright now, calm down. You're impossible, or nearly so. That makes you illegal in Shrewsbury. Breaking the law. Only a queen may do that. Saying that you'll bite me is a threat, not an argument. Have you taken leave of your senses, or do you just have a 3-day pass? I'll be back at 3 o'clock. Well, as is always the case when we drive someone off with our last conversation option, I don't have to care. Ooh, the mall. Let's go to the Spencer's Gifts, or the Auntie Anne's Pretzels. I don't think you can legally have a mall without at least one of those. And back we are in the garden. And back we are at Blenheim Palace. That accomplished entirely nothing. This here false-looking glass is an entirely optional area that you can completely ignore and just go about your life with no consequences. And as you might guess, there is another false-looking glass that is the same in that respect, but we're being completionists, so I'm going to deal with them both. Now then, I think the time has finally come to check out that bathing machine. As I explained last episode, bathing machines were generally used at the beach, and they were silly even in that context, so it's especially silly to have one in your bathtub. Especially one leading down through the floor. Ah. Remember how folks have been talking about ferrets in museums? This introduces another fun mechanic. Going to save state here. Oh, come on, the fall wasn't that far. If you come in contact with a ferret, drat, a nimble paw snatches something from you. They will steal an item. I'm not even sure what I just lost, and I'm not going to page through my inventory to find out, but they usually steal important items. It's never something like a cake or a mushroom or whatever. It's something that you're going to need. And anytime a ferret steals something, you'll be able to find it in a museum that we will be discovering soon enough. But it's really better not to have your shit taken in the first place. Okay, now we're at the beach. I guess the whole bathing machine kinda ties into that, in a roundabout way. Then again, pretty much everything in Wonderland is done in a roundabout way. Let's take a long walk off a short pier. Swimming, swimming over across the screen. Da 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 da. Insurance fraud today. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we're getting anywhere. And I turn around and we're right back at the pier. Yep, that is an endless succession of water screens there. You can swim further and further out to sea and you will never get anywhere. And if you turn back, you are always one screen away from the pier. So let's explore the building. A lovely music hall. The upper half of a pantomime horse that is a little worse for wear, which we cannot take. Alright, leftward, hopefully to more fruitful explorations. Oh, it's that cat again. It's proper to compliment a cat's appearance starting from one end and working to the other. Who are you again? That's easy for you to say. As a matter of fact, it is. It's also easy for me to say, where am I? What does it look like? Okay, the big sign saying carousel probably should have tipped me off. I'll grant you that one. Why not indeed? One of the great answers to the many questions of life. Although it's more of a counter-question than an answer, I suppose. Thank you. I'm rather fond of my tail, too. In fact, I'm attached to it. It'd be polite to chortle about now. A little bit of trivia. If I remember correctly, Lewis Carroll actually invented the word chortle, which first appeared in the aforementioned poem Jabberwocky. O frabjous day, Callooh Callay, he chortled in his joy. Now, where was I? Was I at helping or calming? Don't be tedious. Yeah, that's new, so I must have been coaxing before. Alright, on to calm. It's more relaxing not to have to talk. I'll be back at 5 o'clock. Whoops. Was that calming I just did? I lose track so easily. Yep, yes it was. Alright, perhaps a little teasing will go over better. I rather like my smile, and I have the dental bills to prove it. Come to think of it, I'm overdue for a checkup. Gotta make myself an appointment. I think you ought to be more worried about how you're going to fly up to the tea party in the rabbit hole. I think? That's interesting, though. We've had other characters mention the other Tea Party, and we know that the Mad Hatter's hat does grant the ability to fly, or at least so people have implied, so we can put a few threads together there. And if we scold? The pigeon is even more infuriating, but she does have a looking glass that you might want to look into. I'm sorry, I'm really losing track of my options today. Did I do a tease already? Yes, I did. Okay. Well, we have met the pigeon, and the pigeon was very obstructive, but the looking glass will be good to keep in mind. Alright, one more stop on the pier. The dance hall. Join the line and be refined. We've got one very funky lobster here. Fin or foot, lung or gill, why not do my little quadrille? Do a reel with a seal. Join the line and be refined. Join the line and be refined. Do a reel with a seal. Fin or foot, lung or gill, why not do my little quadrille? And as you've probably guessed at this point, the lobster will just go through these small selections of lines for any conversation option you use on him. And this is a reference to the lobster quadrille, which was something explained to Alice by the griffin and the mock turtle in the book, and we will actually be meeting those characters in the not terribly distant future. Okay, this screen really makes me think of Below the Root. Oh, it's our friend the March Hare again. Thank you for that whisker, it's been very handy. Stand back! Artist at work! I paint with enthusiasm, if not with talent. Well, I'm noticing your painting is in motion. That's a pretty talented piece of expression, if I do say so myself. But who are you again? A famous artist someday. Maybe as long as tomorrow. And where, pray tell, have I found myself now? You know the answer to that as well as I do. Well, you must not know it very well, then. And why are you painting? Let's see Peter Rabbit top this. And how will coaxing go over? Of course I can talk. I've been doing it all my life, but not now. That didn't go over well at all. If we take a more helpful tack. If you don't have a brush, get out of the painting zone. Shut down. The only time I relax is when I visit the Mad Hatter behind the chessboard. Oh, we did hear something about that, didn't we? The caterpillar, when he solved his riddle, told us that you have to be a giant to get through the chessboard and meet the Mad Hatter. Well, once again, it's good to have confirmation of these things. That was calm, right? Yeah. And tease? That shows what you know. The larger the canvas, the better it is. Well, it's good to think big. Good to have ambitions. I'm going to complain to the Queen about you. Well, I stuffed her full of teapots, so I'd like to see you try. My, such a temper. You really ought to send it to school. Just go down the treacle well. Fair enough. And I do have to say, that is a very realistic-looking painting of water you've got going there. It even moves. Makes me wonder if I could... Okay, that's trippy. Moving on. Oh, ferret. Think I'm gonna want to start high here and do a little glide over him. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, you know what? Something I completely forgot about. It occurs to me it's been a while since we tried the seashell. Thank you, we've heard that one. Next screen? Everyone keeps telling us to find the Mad Hatter. Guess he must be a pretty important guy around here. Also, if you didn't recognize the tune there, it was My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. When I was a kid, I thought the lyric was My Body Lies Over the Ocean, and I thought it was a song about someone who died at sea. And either he hadn't come to terms with his death and was trying to get back into his body, or he just wanted someone to find his body so he could get a decent burial. That's neither here nor there, but just a fun little bit of child logic from my youth. And here is that museum we've heard so much about. And here's our first exhibit. The jar is filled with penguin feathers. How enlightening. I thought the tourist season was over and all you fellas had flown south for the winter. No, afraid not. We are trying to figure out a way to fly, but, not yet. And who are you, O curator of the egg collection? I've been a griffin for all my life, though I'm open to other employment possibilities. Good to keep an open mind. How did you get into the museum? Through the door. And why are you doing that? Today is my day to dust the pictures, and tomorrow is my turn to take the dust off. What fun! Don't try to change the subject, it's already changed its outfit 5 times today. I think we've heard that one before. Being absurd is my job. I'll be back at 7 o'clock. No, you won't? Now, what was it I just did? Was that a coax? No. Was that a calm? You can't fool a fool. Okay, that's new. Please excuse me with my very terrible short-term memory today. And if we tease? I like my head as it is. I don't need to have it waxed. Oh, so you're not trying to resist curses in Dark Souls 3, huh? And if I'm argumentative? You're impossible, or nearly so. That makes you illegal in Shrewsbury. I think we've heard that before. And finally, if we are a scold, you might want to meet the Mock Turtle. He's very musical. If you played sports, you wouldn't have so much time to pester people. Here, take this cricket bat. This goes to show that sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and sometimes the pain in the ass gets a good lancing. It is a regulation cricket bat, with a handle ending in a wide, flat rectangular surface. Well, that's very properly British of us. Wait a minute. Okay, this is where your items end up if the ferret steals them. I thought I reloaded after getting something stolen, but my key is up there. How did that happen? I don't have my key. Did I forget to load state after the ferret robbed me? Wow. I am really off my mental game today, folks. Please excuse me. Well, let's go ahead and take care of that with the old yellow mushroom there. Yoink. Mind the low ceiling, Alice. Aha, a chessboard. Well, we have been told that we need to be a giant to go through the chessboard and meet the Mad Hatter, which we've been looking to do anyway, and so I suppose it's just as well that we just had to become a giant to get our key back. However, I think we will save our meeting with the man of the jaunty headwear for next episode. As always, dear Interblops, I thank you for joining me in today's excursion. It helps cheer me up a bit on what has been a very trying day, and I hope that I will see you again very soon. Do take care, friends, be mindful of any larcenous ferrets in your vicinity, and until next time, this is signing off. Today's lovely day for croquet has been brought to you by Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo De Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Alicia Goranson, Mechazaurus, DG Jono, Doug Russell, August Fortnite, Patrick Bellinger, Andy Kurland, Jarogue, Martin Schauenmakers, Mayo the Hedgefox, Hildegard Argelmach, IGV, Jazel, Joseph Hall, Hot Mayo Sandwich, Dan Larson, Electric Keat, K. Ivan Rupert, Tiny Shopkeeper, Charlie Dunst, Kikoskia, Kobo4231, Alex Beyer, Yuka Takeuchi fan, Chaotic Narrative, welcome, McCaffrey Crandall, welcome back, and other flamingo-wielding patrons. Thank you all very, very much. It looks like this is going to continue to be my sole steady income for the foreseeable, and I say that not to guilt anyone or to pass the hat around, but just to let you know, it really makes a difference, and I really, really appreciate it. Much appreciation as well to all commenters, subscribers, and watchers. Hearing you weigh in, or just knowing you're out there, genuinely brightens my day. Take care, everyone, happy Labor Day, and I'll see you next turn of the wheel.